All right, so as I told you all, I would go live at 10 a.m. Here I am, Brian Thomas of the Thomas Tech Sports Podcast, as I drive to my doctor's appointment today out in Amherst, New York. So if you hear any little rustling around or the turn signal or whatever, I'm just obeying the laws of the road, and I am being a bad driver. Want everybody to know that I'm a solid driver. I've had my fair share of speeding tickets, no doubt about that. But for the most part, I've been pretty good as far as everything else goes. So I made an announcement for the show on the show's Facebook page, the Thomas Tech Sports Podcast Facebook page, that I have a new partnership with a budding business in Western New York. Western New York is one of those communities where obviously the winter is long. The summer is short. We got to enjoy the sun while we can. And Glow Buffalo is a fast-growing tanning business, as well as they have facial creams and cosmetic products, esthetician products for men and women. A good friend of mine, Mary Ferraro, she owns the business. You can follow her on Instagram at Glow Buffalo. It's GLOWBFLO. Very excited that they'll be promoting the podcast as well, and I will be promoting their business. So it's a mutual promotional partnership that I will definitely give you guys more information on her company within the coming days. Thus far, I will have you guys flock to the official Glow Buffalo Instagram at GLOWBFLO. So, that being said, let's get started. Mixed martial arts, obviously there's a lot of talking points inside the wide world of mixed martial arts. I was on the My Fantasy podcast on Wednesday night, talked about my article on myfantasysportstalk.com, Daniel Cormier versus Brock Lesnar, desperate times call for desperate measures. As well, on the flip side, Buffalo Bills, the Buffalo Brass, McBean. That dropped today. I want you guys to go to myfantasysportstalk.com, check out those articles, and also purchase the 2018 My Fantasy Sports Talk Fantasy Football Draft Guide, something that I was very happy to be a part of in 2018, this season for fantasy football. As you guys know, I'm the champ, reigning, defending, undisputed champion of two leagues, my work league as well as my personal league, which I've been the commissioner of since 2011. Added my fourth title in that league this past season. So take it from me, I know what I'm talking about. You can trust in my opinion. I have helped my friends even beat me, to say the least. So, that being said, as we move closer and closer to fantasy football, we are still in the heat of baseball, the trade deadline. I'll have you guys covered as well, but this episode is dedicated to mixed martial arts. So right back on track here. Daniel Cormier is, in case you missed it, the now UFC light heavyweight champ, as well as the UFC heavyweight champ. And that's big news, obviously, him winning two titles, him being the champion in both weight classes simultaneously. I'm very excited to see how this pans out with Daniel Cormier in terms of when he will be fighting Brock Lesnar. I know for 100% fact that fight will take place. Brock Lesnar will no longer be a part of the WWE once he gets this title shot. He's got one last match at WWE SummerSlam. And then past that, he will be back in the USADA testing pool, as he already is, in a full pursuit of the UFC heavyweight title, taking it in his attempt to actually take it from Daniel Cormier. And DC has alluded to, well, I don't want to wait, from now until January to fight again. I want to, enjoy my fighting career, what's left of it. I got until March when I turned 40 years old. These are DC's words, not mine. When he turns 40 years old, that's his retirement, and he turns 40 in March. So his retirement is presumed to be, obviously, on its way. And as we get closer to that March date, one will wonder, will he take another fight before Brock Lesnar? And he's alluded to that. He's alluded to fighting maybe Mauricio Shogun, who if Shogun can get past Anthony Smith. He's alluded to taking on Alexander Gustafsson once again, if Gustafsson does get past Volkan Ozdemir in devastating fashion. I don't think either of those fights will take place. I don't think either of those fights will happen. I do not see DC ever fighting at 205 pounds again. And I want to make it very clear, DC's usually a man of his word. When he said he was going to move down to 205 back, 3-4 years back, he moved down to 205. When he said he was going to fight John Jones for the light heavyweight title, he fought John Jones for the light heavyweight title. When he said he was going to beat Anthony Rumble Johnson, he beat Anthony Rumble Johnson for the vacant light heavyweight title. DC's a man of his word. He is a man of his word, and he does have all the integrity in that aspect of the fight game. But he fought at 246 pounds in his last fight. That means, obviously right now he's eaten since his fight ended. I'm assuming right now he might weigh around 250, 253 maximum, which is large and in charge for Daniel Cormier. Does he, at this age, during this state of his career, he's got all the power in those two divisions right now, all the leverage, and he knows and has admitted as such that he has far more power at heavyweight than he does at light heavyweight. He's basically, dehydrated completely, moving down to 205, does not have the oxygen to his muscles, does not have the wherewithal at 205 to really put a lot of power on his punches. And at heavyweight, there was a huge difference. Fighting that heavy at heavyweight, 246 pounds versus Stipe Miocic, the first few punches that landed for DC were enough to cut and to hurt Stipe Miocic. I thought the both eye pokes by DC were largely a factor as to why he won on Saturday night last weekend. But, to say the least, I do not anticipate DC ever fighting at 205 pounds again. He's 39 years old. At this stage of his career, it does not get any easier cutting weight. Usually once a guy hits 31, 32, 33, his weight cutting days are over, unless his body mass gets smaller and he can make that weight. Whereas DC, his body mass is getting bigger. He's getting bigger. He's getting larger. And I just don't see him moving down to 205 pounds again, especially, we have to take into consideration the fight that was in our own backyard in Buffalo, New York, UFC 210, Daniel Cormier versus Anthony Rumble Johnson 2, Towelgate. Daniel Cormier clinched the towel so he would make the weight, it would lessen the weight of the scale that was on the scale by grabbing the towel. And he's officially the only 206-pound champion, 206.2-pound champion in UFC history. We also have to throw that out there. So, given everything I've just stated, most of it is actual fact, most of it is actual quotes from DC. Do you guys see Daniel Cormier fighting at 205 pounds again? I say, hell no. I'm Ryan Thomas. It was the Thomas Take Sports Podcast. Take care.